Yeah, I mean, it's like I try to relish or enjoy this time of, before it actually gets out there. But I really, I'm looking forward to sharing like the album, if anyone who wants to hear, like our fans, our shows, stuff like that. But it's something kind of nice when you have the, there's something where it's understandable if you're playing songs that people, have not had the opportunity to actually hear, like as a reference point, to be sort of reserved and when you're playing them live. But there's also something like just kind of really nice when you're like, okay, this is a very sort of, there's a moment here, and you get to like play it for the first time to them, and then sometimes, and I think I'd say for the most part, people have been really positive and like receptive, considering they don't, this is the first time they're hearing it. So I'm dying for them to hear the actual record, but at this point in time, all we have is Alive, and that's kind of like just nice to go from one song that's from Turn on the Bright Lights or Antics or whatever, or the last record, into a new song and not really think differently about it. Well, when we were like kind of like starting to play new songs or whatever in the early, like we did a tour in the UK in March, and it was kind of like, I will forgive if anyone gets up and decides like, I don't know this song, I'm gonna go get a beer. You want a beer? Like I don't think I would have been like judgmental, but I have to say, given that starting point as far as my expectations, people all being like pretty bopping their heads or kind of being attentive, like you're saying. To me, then it's been like that's kind of like, that's great. That's all you can ask for, because there's no energy like when you've already like owned a piece, like a record, and you really cherish, and then the band plays it live. Like you can't compete with that experience. That's like something on its own. But if you're actually, people are kind of listening to something for the first time and paying mind to it, then I think that's just like that's great, and it's been like that. Well, I think you always get more comfortable with more time, but at the same time, we've always produced all of our records. There's only one record that we co-produced with someone, so we've always entered the studio of like, right, this is what we want to accomplish right now. And we're the ones who have to be like, nah, that's not the way we've been practicing the songs or writing the songs, because we really come to the studio with the songs like almost like we could go play a live show. We're not one of those bands that goes to the studio and then, which no judgment against that, but then we start figuring out the middle section. We go there like, right, this is what we want to accomplish, because a lot of the work's already been, the creative work's been already, done in a humble, like rehearsal room. For me, it's like whenever we're writing and recording a record, I think first and foremost, I just have to try to make sure that we accomplish like what we set out to do, like what we hope, like what we kind of had in mind when we were writing the songs first in the rehearsal space. Because you can lose that thread when you go to the recording studio. All of a sudden, things aren't turning out the way you want to. You have an off day, or I don't know why. Why is that guitar not sounding the way it should sound? It's like some things that are just like, there's like ghosts in the machine left and right. But so to me, it feels like a great accomplishment. I can leave and be like, no, that's the idea. That's what we had in mind. And I'd say that this record really was, like, I'm leaving here being like, no, that's the way the songs kind of sounded to me in my head. Yeah. And so apart from that, I don't know. I hope people like them. I hope our fans are like pleased with it. I'm really excited to share with them. But now that I feel this way about the record, then it's kind of out of my hands. Like, that's all I can do, Like, it's worse when you're trying to, it would be worse if you're trying to do something that you hope will work with others, but you're not necessarily feeling yourself. Like, that I don't think I can really do.